Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is an episode of the evolution of the Epstein Chronicles. We talked about Lesley Groff last night, and I thought that it would be fitting to go back and find an article about Sarah Kellen as well, considering I talk so much about her. I'd like to give a little bit more perspective on her. I'd like to explain who she is, who she was, and who she is now, and I think that this article will do that for us. So it's an article from the Daily Mail, and it's from July 12th of 2019. So we didn't have to warm up the time machine to go back way too far. But like I said, again, we need to understand who the players are in this story, and I think it's past time that we talk about her. She went on to live this great life after being named in all of these cases. Marrying a NASCAR driver, living in Hawaii, having her own businesses, the whole routine. And you have to ask yourself, how did she get away with all of this as well? How was she given that plea agreement? Why was she afforded that protection when none of us would ever be afforded that protection, folks? None of us. But yet these people, these players, and we see it, his inner circle, and his inner circle is a lot like NXIVM. He is a lot like Keith Raniere in that regard with his inner circle. All of this handful of girls, 4, 5, 6 women that were always around him, that were doing his bidding, procuring young women, assisting him in his escapades. It's very much cult-like behavior. And we'll see in this article that she also kept on socializing with him after the prosecution. So I don't understand how the spotlight isn't firmly planted on her and her husband, the ex-NASCAR driver, Brian Vickers. I don't know how they've escaped so much media scrutiny that other people have received. And here we are, right? We're this deep into the case. Hardly anybody's talking about her. The focus has really been on the big three, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, and Prince Andrew. But we have to expand a lot deeper than that. We have to go so much deeper than that, because we know from our own investigations, from our own research, from the daily drops alone, we know that there are so many different players in this game, so many different people involved in this trafficking ring, either intimately or by enabling Epstein and his people to get away with this. So I think it's important that we take the time and we put these people on blast and we go through them one at a time and very critically, because there is no way in hell that this lady should be living the life that she's living, this jet-setting life. And these girls still have not received any justice. They have not received any sort of true help even from prosecution or even from the media outlets who have been, like we know with ABC, quashing this kind of story. But that hasn't stopped them. That has not stopped these girls from coming out now and standing together. Really is what they're doing, right? All of these girls that have been abused, they're standing together and they're demanding that these people that helped Jeffrey Epstein face punishment. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to profile Sarah Kellen Vickers today. And she is definitely one of the inner circle people for Jeffrey Epstein. She was high up on his list. She was one of the girls that paid other girls when they would come over, the little high school girls and the middle school girls. She was definitely neck deep in all of this deviousness. And there is no way that she should get away without being penalized. She should definitely have to face the full force of the judicial system, whatever that might be at this point, because we all know that it's broken. And obviously, these people don't have to face justice, folks. Only you and I. Only you and I have to pay our taxes. Only you and I have to play by the rules. If you're rich, if you're elite, there are no rules, obviously. You do whatever you want. People are just cattle. Who cares what happens? Your son gets into a car accident and he drives off the road, kills somebody else. That doesn't matter. Your kid's getting off scot-free if you're one of these elites. That's the sort of society we live in. That's the sort of society that has been fostered. And I'll tell you what, it's time to tear it down from the very foundation, folks. It is time to end these people. It is time to end their nonsense. It is time to end their meddling. It is definitely time to end their abuse of power and their abuse of citizens of every major country in this whole entire world. Nobody is immune from it, especially in the Western world. We run around, we have like this this veil over our eyes sometimes of what's truly going on in our own societies. So the veil has certainly been pulled back from my eyes, and this is a whole new world of just complete and utter darkness and disgustingness. But it needs to be discussed. It needs to be talked about. There's no way to disinfect it if you don't talk about it and shine light on it. Or else it's just going to keep going on and on and on. It's going to be that, that kept secret that nobody wants to talk about, the big elephant in the room. Well, it's time. It's time to talk about it, and it's time to talk about Sarah Kellen Vickers. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. Article, Daily Mail, July 12th, 2019. Headline: Exclusive. Jeffrey Epstein's fixer was still socializing with the convicted pedophile in 2012, even after avoiding prosecution and changing her name, dyeing her hair brown, moving to Hawaii, and dating a NASCAR racer. Sounds like a fantastic young lady, huh? Somebody really, really has a lot of self-awareness for what she was involved in. Either that or she just doesn't care. Jeffrey Epstein's female fixer, who allegedly procured underage girls for him to sexually abuse and was the keeper of his little black book, was still socializing with the convicted pedophile in 2012, exclusive pictures obtained by Daily Mail can reveal. Sarah Kellen was seen cozied up to Epstein in February 2012 as they walked along Madison Avenue in Manhattan deep in conversation before heading to Epstein's $77 million townhouse. Of course, like I said, there's a lot of parallels with the NXIVM cult of Keith Raniere and with what Jeffrey Epstein had going on in the inner circle. And it's no coincidence that the Bronfmans are connected to both. Kellen was accused of making massage appointments for Epstein and pressuring young girls into not talking to police who said they were intimidated and frightened by her, according to the Miami Herald. Yep, I know of several different girls who have said that Sarah Kellen was the one that procured them, was the one that helped groom them, was the one that brought them into Jeffrey Epstein's orbit. And most of them were the high school girls and the middle school girls. And she would tell them, oh, well, make sure you don't tell Jeffrey your age. These are the sort of people we're dealing with, folks. This is all premeditated. This is not a RICO case. I got an email from a listener from Australia who was saying the same thing about RICO. How is this not a RICO case? How are they not slapping criminal enterprise charges on all of these people? They were trafficking children, not even just across state lines, but across international boundaries. So slap them with a charge at Interpol as well. Bring the whole entire thing down on their heads like you do with everybody else. What is stopping you, federal government? Several alleged victims told police they were taken to Epstein's massage room at his Palm Beach mansion by a woman named Sarah after she laid out the massage oils. And we know that Jeffrey Epstein had a bunch of massage oils and all sorts of stuff at the house because when the police got the search warrant and they went in, they found all sorts of crazy stuff. Bars of soap shaped as penises, bars of soap shaped as vaginas, all sorts of weird, wacky shit. Normal people don't have that in their house. I mean, you go to the chicken ranch, maybe you'll have that, the red light district in Amsterdam. Normal people don't have that sort of stuff in their bathroom. And then it makes me wonder, well, all these people that went to his house, we had no idea what he was doing. But yet, all these other reports say that all of this art, all of this kind of weird, crazy shit was prevalently, it was in a prevalent place where everybody could see it. I get so flustered talking about this sometimes. I get so mad. All these people that go to Epstein's house all the time that were always there and they had no idea. Come on. Kellen did not respond to a request for comment when contacted by the Daily Beast. According to flight logs, Kellen also traveled on Epstein's private jet with former President Bill Clinton on at least 11 flights between 2002 and 2003. So maybe she could shine a little light, huh? Oh, I forgot. She's part of that huge plea deal. I wonder why she got part of that. She was part of that plea deal as well. Epstein's whole harem, folks, got immunity on that deal. All of those women that procured women, Lesley Groff, Marcinkova, and Sarah Kellen Vickers, the whole group got immunity. How? They were all involved in a criminal enterprise. That's like busting the mafia and then just giving them all immunity just because. It's not like they rolled over on anybody. Who else went to jail? Usually, if you want a sweetheart deal, you better provide some goddamn evidence. Look at your boy Tekashi69 or whatever his name is. Dude's singing like a songbird right now because he's scared he's going to have to go do time. That's how you trade. What did they have to trade? They didn't have anything to trade. They all took the fifth. They were represented by these powerful lawyers. And here we are again, folks. The victims getting shit on. Kellen was given federal immunity under Epstein's non-prosecution agreement in 2007, made with former Miami federal prosecutor and Trump administration Secretary of Labor Alexander Acosta, who resigned over the deal on Friday, as he should have. He should have never even been asked to take that job. Why is Trump asking Alexander Acosta to take that job when he knew, the transition team knew and asked him those questions? Why not find somebody else? Just like with Dershowitz, why would you want to bring Dershowitz around? Why would you want him as your lawyer? It's so bad for optics. You guys are both accused of sexual assault. I mean, Trump's had 13 women say that he sexually abused them in some way or another? Not rape or not part of this Epstein thing besides the one Katie Johnson case. But still, it remains. It's terrible optics, and I don't care where your politics are, folks. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and the optics for Trump with Dershowitz, Acosta, all of these people around him, they're just as bad as when Bill Clinton's hanging out with a bunch of sex-crazed maniacs like Anthony Weiner, and, you got all these other people, Epstein and Nate, et cetera, all right? But the problem is this. There's no reason for a guy like Acosta, who was embroiled in this, to ever even been thought to be put into a presidential administration by Trump or anyone else. Epstein pleaded guilty to two prostitution charges in state court in Miami and served 13 months in Palm Beach County Jail, during which much of the time he was allowed out on work release. He was released in 2009. Kellen, along with fellow executive assistants Lesley Groff, who we talked about earlier, Nadia Marcinkova, who we've also talked about, and Adriana Ross, who we're going to get to eventually, were named in Epstein's 2008 sweetheart deal as potential co-conspirators. I think we could drop the potential part off, right? 40, 50 girls, 60 girls talking about this case, talking about how Sarah Kellen Vickers and Maxwell and Lesley Groff and the rest of these people brought them in, groomed them, and delivered them to the monster Jeffrey Epstein. So not potential. She remained fiercely loyal to Epstein after the deal, along with Marcinkova, visited him dozens of times in jail. This is the sort of loyalty. That's not normal, folks. That's not normal behavior. All right? This is cult-like behavior. There is a lot more here with Epstein. There's a lot more that parallels with NXIVM, and we're going to pivot to that. We're going to talk about NXIVM. We're going to talk about Keith Raniere. There's a lot there as well, and it all ties in. When you look at the names, all of the names are the same, folks. The same players on the same damn stage over and over and over again. And I don't know how many times I have to say it, but I'll say it again. I do not believe in those sort of coincidences. In 2010, Kellen was interviewed under oath as part of civil proceedings along with Epstein's other assistants about their dealings with the billionaire financier pedophile, and also asked whether Epstein's close friend Prince Andrew was involved with underage girls. Kellen was asked by a lawyer, "Would you agree with me that Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein used to share underage girls for sexual relations?" Kellen replied, "On the instruction of my lawyer, I must invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege." You must. Why? Why can't you just tell the truth? You can't be honest under oath? You have to plead the fifth? It's not like you're not being honorable here, Kellen. You're enabling the abuse of girls, and you don't care. And you're going to skate free just because Epstein said so. Just because Epstein reached out to the right people and got you the immunity deal. Just because Dershowitz punked people into making this deal. Does that sound fair, folks? Is that kind of system you want to live under? That is the two-tier justice system personified. Imagine if you or I tried to pull this move. Imagine if your Uncle Joe did. Prince Andrew denied any sexual contact with underage girls. Kellen and her fellow assistants were generously compensated for working for Epstein. where they made themselves available 24/7 and were indispensable to his personal and business successes, according to a 2005 article in the New York Times. There you go, criminal conspiracy. Lock it in, folks. That's all we need. How much more evidence do they need? What are they doing at the SDNY? What are you people doing? Are you still sifting through Michael Cohen's records, hoping that you find a gem? Maybe, just maybe, if you would pivot to this Epstein case and you would focus on these girls, a whole treasure trove would open up. And hell, maybe you'll even get your pearl on Trump that you're looking for. We'll never know unless these files get opened up. And for that to happen, and for us to really get to the bottom of this, there is going to be people that are going to have to be completely and utterly basically sacrificed by the media. The question really comes down to, is the media willing to do it? Are they willing to stand tall and do their job? Are they willing to burn their faves, as Nancy Pelosi's daughter likes to say? They're an extension of my brain, Epstein told the Times. Their intuition is something that I don't have. Epstein paid each assistant more than $200,000 a year, and the position came with perks. Access to top hairstylist Frederick Fekkai, private jet trips, and meals from New York's top restaurant. Oh, well, that's great. That's great. $200,000 a year, get your hair did, couple private jet trips, meals, all for what? To sell your soul to this monster? To be engaged in trafficking of young girls? As a girl yourself, a woman yourself, how could you possibly be involved with this? How could you possibly be involved in this? And also what it goes to show you folks is it's just not men who are crazy sick psychos. Once you get to a certain level of life and society, you can't get off normally like most people do. You don't gamble $20 or $100. That doesn't get you excited. Even winning $1 million doesn't get you excited. Power and control is all that matters to you. And once you have a little taste of it, boy oh boy, look what happens. After avoiding prosecution, Kellen, 40, took steps to conceal her sordid past. She went from a blonde to a brunette and reemerged as Sarah Kensington. She also goes by the aliases Sarah Kellen Vickers and Sarah Bonk, according to public records. How many nom de jours do you guys have? You have a bunch of different names? I don't. I thought that was for like ISIS members and stuff. Why does she need 1,400 different names? What's she so worried about? What's she hiding? What are you hiding, Sarah Kellen Vickers? She spent several years in Hawaii and began dating NASCAR driver Brian Vickers in 2012, where she began popping up in the pit lane at his races. The couple became engaged in the summer of 2013 and married in September 2013 in Wyoming, according to local reports. So obviously Brian Vickers is either A, his judgment is absolutely and utterly terrible about who he decides to spend his time with, especially choosing his life mate, or B, he just doesn't care, and he just doesn't care that she was involved in this stuff. There's no way she was involved in any of this stuff. Yeah, one of those types. I'm going to go with a little bit of both, probably. After her marriage to Vickers, 35, she reinvented herself as an interior designer and jet sets around the world following her husband's career. In recent years, she has been pictured in Singapore, New York, Miami, Tokyo, and Capri. I'm glad she's living the high life. I am really glad she's living the high life. What about the young girls that you destroyed their lives? What about those girls? You think they're living the high life? I don't think they are. I have a sneaking suspicion that they're not living the high life. But yet, this lady gets away with it because of the people she was engaged with, because of the people she's around, all of the powerful people, and therefore the powerful money, and therefore, what was I just talking about? The influence. And when you have all of that influence, and when you really have that much money, the only thing that really gets you off is power. And that's what Jeffrey Epstein exerted in this case when he first got himself off. His handlers, it's obvious to me right now, folks, what's going on. There's no other way to explain it. If somebody else has a better explanation for it, I am all ears. Like usual, I believe the evidence, and the evidence has led to the intelligence angle, especially after reading a couple of these articles. There is no way in hell that normal people get off on cases like this. There's no way. Impossible. I will never believe it. The couple divide their time between their homes in New York, Miami, and North Carolina. She is the owner of SLK Designs, an interior design company. Public records with the New York Division of Corporations show that SLK Designs, LLC was established in May of 2012. Isn't that nice? In 2015, the Daily Mail reported that Kellen and Marcinkova, who renamed herself Nadia Marcinkova and is now a pilot with a company called Aviloop, were operating from $2 million apartments in a Manhattan building that was majority owned by Epstein's brother, Mark. So you see, that's what happens, right? You keep your mouth shut, you're good soldiers, you don't rat out Jeff and our powerful, rich friends, and we're going to hook you up with these $2 million apartments for you to run your businesses out of. Really? Mark Epstein told The Guardian at the time he owned the majority of the units in the Manhattan building and he had never heard of the two women's companies. On SLK Design's Facebook page, it states, Sarah Kensington makes a living doing what she loves in life, interior design. She is the owner of SLK Designs, LLC, and had studied at several schools, including the University of Hawaii and New York School of Interior Design, and also, I'd like to add, at the school of Jeffrey Epstein's House of Horrors, where she brought young girls in to get molested and to get abused by that sick monster. Where's that? Let's add that to her resume as well. Somebody want to go and fix her LinkedIn? Sarah loves fashion, photography, travel, delicious cuisine, and anything design-related. Housewares, interior design, art, architecture. In her free time, Sarah enjoys working with clay and painting. And procuring young girls for sexual animals. At the present time, Sarah Kellen Vickers, is working with a number of clients on various projects, including renovating several corporate apartments in New York. Jeffrey Epstein had a home there. The Caribbean. Oh, Epstein had a home there. And Paris. What do you know, folks? Guess what? Epstein also had a home there. For the houses that Sarah manages, she does a number of duties which can involve organizing staff schedules, looking for and interviewing housekeepers and chefs, purchase and source items that are needed for the household, flatware, dishes, furniture, art, etc., design floral arrangements, and interior design. And for her grand finale, she can bring you 14-year-olds or 15-year-olds. If you want, maybe even a 12 or 13-year-old, because that's the kind of sick bastard she is as well. Epstein has properties in New York, Paris, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The article just stated the same thing. In an online profile about her, it states, when Sarah gets time away from her busy career, she enjoys traveling the world. She has visited a number of different places, including Bali, China, Japan, Russia, Cuba, Australia, Belize, Brazil, Colombia, France, Italy, England, Middle East, Israel, Africa, and all over the United States. Oh, what a great life this procurer has led, huh? This girl who has allegedly brought dozens of girls to be molested by Jeffrey Epstein is living this jet-setter's life still. Living the life, boys and girls. If that doesn't make you want to stand up and flip the table over, I do not know what will. My blood pressure is through the roof reading this article right now. Reading is another favorite pastime that Sarah enjoys. Well, that's good, because when she goes to prison, she'll have something to do besides being violated by the other prisoners. She is currently reading Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. Her favorite book is by Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, and The Fountainhead. Sarah is a lover of classic novels such as Dracula, The Hobbit, and Sherlock Holmes. Well, may I also suggest a great one? Pick up the Cliff Notes for How to Survive in Prison, because your day is coming, Sarah. Your day is coming. That plea agreement isn't going to protect you forever. That plea agreement, I have a sneaking suspicion that plea agreement is going to go by the wayside at some point. The federal government, under enough pressure, can do whatever they want to do. And that's where you come in, folks. The pressure has to be kept on. We can't forget about this case. We can't stop talking about it. We have to keep going full throttle, foot down, all the way to the floor. Epstein, 66, was charged earlier this week with 2 counts of underage sex trafficking. He was arrested by the FBI when his private jet landed from Paris in New Jersey on Saturday. Yeah, again, that's nice, right? We'll wait for you to land there, old Jeffy. You land, you come turn yourself in, no worries. Me or you, on the other hand, say we have a crime, a white-collar crime. Maybe we stole some money, we embezzled some money, maybe. We made illegal bets over state lines, whatever it is. You know what they're doing, right? Especially for me, my last name ends with a vowel. They love to do this to Italian people. You know how I know that? I've seen it with my own eyes. They love to kick in your door. They love to drag people out of their homes. That's what the feds love to do. So why didn't they make their show of force with Jeffrey Epstein? Wouldn't that have made great TV? Wouldn't that have been a great tip-off to CNN like they did about Roger Stone? Ask yourselves why, folks. Ask yourselves why. None of the women are named in the new indictment against Epstein, and prosecutors say they do not anticipate filing charges against anyone soon. There is a reference, however, to the employees and assistants he used to allegedly traffic 3 underage girls in New York and Florida. Acosta sealed the 2008 agreement, the Miami Herald reported, meaning neither the victims nor the public were aware of Epstein's crimes, nor who else was involved in helping him abuse underage girls. The legality of the agreement is now in question. Epstein's victims were not informed of it at the time, which is a violation of the law, meaning the future of Epstein's female cohorts is uncertain. And again, it is certainly uncertain. This isn't written yet. Just because you think that they think that they're safe and they're out of the woods because they got this agreement and they're going to go on with their lives, they're wrong. Laws are changed all the time, folks. Who makes these laws? Congress, right? Well, I'll tell you what. The pressure should be put on them as well. They have a hand in all of this. If they can bring baseball players before Congress, they can have this trial that's going to go into the Senate and go nowhere. They can bring every single person you can imagine, Mark Zuckerberg before Congress, every person you can imagine. Then they can bring all of these people named in this case before Congress and put them under oath. Why not? What are you waiting for? Who are you protecting? Who are you hiding? Who is telling you not to do that? And if nobody is pressuring you not to do that, Mr. Congressman, Mr. Congresswoman, then you don't care. You truly don't care. You had all the momentum with in the world with this Me Too movement, and you've squandered it. We still don't know about the lawmakers in the House who settled deals for sexual harassment and sexual misconduct. We don't know any of that stuff. Why not? Why isn't that released either? Who are you protecting and why? We want transparency. The public demands transparency. If we get in trouble, we're not protected. Our names are all over the internet for anyone to find. But you guys get in trouble, Congress, lawmakers, intelligence, whistleblowers, whatever it may be. No, well, we have a sacred duty to protect their identity. Yeah, that way, so they can get off scot-free, and you can insert them back into your stupid-ass plot so they can keep up with their grifting, keep up with their corruption. Because at the end of the day, it's all about power to these people, folks. But that's okay. Because we're onto their shit now. We have the internet. We're connected. It's not just one person anymore. It's just not one guy ranting and raving to nobody, to his friends at the water cooler. There's a movement underway. This is the American Spring. This is the very beginning of the dawning of the American Spring, folks, where everyone is being awakened to what is truly going on. And in this year, 2020, you all know what's happening. This is the year that the predator becomes the prey. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. I will be back later tonight with a daily drop. And if you would like to support the show, you can do that at the GoFundMe link that is in the description box. I will talk to you all later, and hopefully my blood pressure will have come down a little bit. But I highly doubt it as I keep reading these articles and I get more and more aggravated. All right, folks, see you in a little bit, or I guess talk to you in a little bit.